Hey guys, this is Brooke here, and I just wanted to do a commentary here about something I was thinking about, and this has to do with sex bots and sex robots and love dolls. I did a video about this previously, I guess it was a few years ago, but I wanted to talk about it again because I just find it very interesting. There's a lot of stuff coming out. I watched the series Altered Carbon. I don't really watch TV that much, but if there's something on TV that has to do with truth, or if there's truth or conspiracy in the movie or the show, I will take a look at it. Altered Carbon had to do with consciousness transfer and clones, and multiple clones and consciousness transfer and AI technology. I found the series very interesting because it also even had they were talking about how the elites were making clones fight each other to get new bodies. I forgot what the bodies were called. I know that the consciousness computer chip was called Stacks, I think. But the bodies were, they grew them in the lab or something like that. But basically the series was based on Donald Marshall's testimony. I think they actually heard the video and say, "Fuck it, let's just make." And it was also based off of a book. And they said, "Well, there's a lot of conspiracy going around about cloning, so I guess we'll just make a series about it." And I'm glad that they did because we need to talk about cloning. You know, it's a really serious issue. But I wanted to talk about sex robots, clones, what's going on in our world today, which is making our world really insane. But I will start with the sex robots here. So, okay, so where do I start? Okay, so let me just start talking about this first. Women have been using vibrators and dildos and things like that for a very long time, sex toys. And men have been they've been coming out with stuff like the pocket pussy and the asshole and the woman's head. Like you can buy a woman's head where the mouth opens and you could fuck that. And I just want to point out something that I find very funny. I think there's some double standards in a lot of things. The fact that women don't get take as much heat for using sex toys as much as men do. I don't know why. Like if a man uses a pocket pussy, he's seen as a pervert or nasty, a scumbag. If a woman uses a dildo, no one says anything. If a woman uses a vibrator, no one says anything. I don't understand why. And the reason why I brought this point up here is because we're still fucking inanimate objects, and that's just the reality. This is the precursor to the android age of sex robots. So I want to talk about these vibrators now. These dildos, I'm not really a fan because it just doesn't feel like the real thing to me. It just feels like plastic. It's just a lifeless piece of plastic. So I'm not into it. Not hating on those that are into the dildo scene. Just not into it. Because when you actually have sex with a real person, you feel their energy, you feel their spirit, you feel their warmth, you feel the energy transfer. When you use a piece of plastic, it ain't shit to me, really. It's just okay, whatever. So basically what women are doing is they only want the male phallic part. They don't care for the whole being, which says a lot about that situation. Like, so you just care about the dick, but you don't care about the person. Okay. So that's what women are on. And women have been using sex toys and stuff for a long time. And vibrators. Now, vibrators, honestly, I like them, to be honest with you, but I understand the reality that it is a machine. This is a machine here. It's more, the vibrators are more for the clitoral aspect. I'm not saying this to be nasty or a pervert. As I say this in all my videos, this is for education and wisdom and knowledge and truth. So if you're a pervert and like, oh, she's talking about dildos and vibrators, stop being immature. I'm talking about this for educational purposes. So vibrators, they're more for the clitoral aspect. Some women use vibrators in the vagina. I'm not a big fan of it. I do like clitoral vibrators because it gets you there faster and it's a more consistent vibration. But to be real with you guys, it's still a piece of plastic. and it's not a real person. And I have to just admit to that a lot of spiritual people do not really embrace sexual toys because it's still and you're using inanimate objects to orgasm. Okay, as much as I enjoy clitoral vibrators, it is what it is, you know. So it's the more you use it, the more you depend on it. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it takes away from having sex with a real person in certain aspects. If you it just depends on the person. For me, you know, it doesn't really take away, but honestly, some women, they rather use their toys than actually have sex, and that's where the problems are coming into play, because sex is for two human beings to connect. Some people just want to have an orgasm, and it's kind of like a marathon, really. You want to just win the race without doing the work or running the path. Well, that's what it is about these orgasms. It's like you just want to orgasm, but you don't want the experience, and that's kind of taken away from the sexual experience. And I just have to admit it, even myself, as much as I love my vibrator, sometimes I gotta chill, like say, you know what, I'm not gonna use this for a while, and I'm just gonna, you know, let my partner handle it. You gotta be like that sometimes. There has to be moderation, there has to be balance, you know. But this is coming back to my main point here is with the sex toys. Now, men, they got technology out here, like they have the pocket pussy, they have the female head, they have the love dolls and stuff. And I hear a lot of women complaining about these things, and I was complaining about it myself until I realized, well, wait a second. Women use plastic dildos and vibrators, and I forgot what they're called. They're like these balls that you put in your ass. Like, I'm not into that type of shit. I'm not into that. But some women like to put the... Guys, write it in the description below. I forgot what they're called. They're called the Bentu something. I don't know. You put them in your ass and you put them in your vagina, and it's supposed to help you with something, but I'm just not into that. But there's a lot of toys that women use, and men are using the pocket pussy and the dolls, and women are getting upset. I'm like, how are you getting upset, though? If you're a woman that uses plastic for your own endeavors and your own masturbation, how are you going to get mad at this man? Now, look, it's a double standard. You know, it's truly a double standard. But the thing is, the technology is getting so real, like these dolls. Now, see, the love doll is just a very sophisticated way of masturbation in my mind. And women are getting upset because women feel like we're getting replaced by androids and dolls and clones and things like that. And this is becoming a serious problem for everybody, really, that we all should be having sex in a healthy manner, but just the nature of our world is unnatural. And what does that mean? That means that we have to spend most of our time at work, taking care of ourselves, making sure we have a roof over our head. We don't have time to be natural. Let me repeat that again. We don't have time to be natural as human beings, like, because we have to do so much to just maintain ourselves and survive, that we're not following the mating rituals of nature. Like, there are certain times where you notice with certain times when animals mate at certain seasons. Well, human beings are not too different than animals. We have more intelligence and more consciousness, but we're still on Earth, and we still connect to Earth and the natural cycles. And there are times where we might get horny, and that might be our times to mate, but because we have school and work and business and all this stuff going on, and we have unnatural circumstances, we can't do what we want to do when we need to do it. So we have inventions like vibrators and dildos and pocket pussy, because pussy on the go and stuff like that, because we don't have time to do what we do as humans in the human format. So it's a very complicated and mess up situation. That's all I have to say about that, really. I mean, so these love dolls, so there's a problem arising. So now there's these dolls with no souls, and people are saying, well, fuck it, I don't feel like... I watched these videos with these men. They were asking the men, well, why do you want to marry your doll, or why do you have a doll? And most of them said the same thing. They're tired of women, they're tired of bitching and complaining. They're tired of being cheated on. They're tired of trying to take a woman out and buy her stuff to get her in bed. Like, if they could just get a doll and just get what they want, like, it basically a lifeless being. They don't want to hear a woman bitching and complaining and having to spend all this money and all this stuff. They just want someone to just sit there, always be there, never say anything, and just take dick. That's pretty much what they're saying. That's what I hear. But I don't want to be biased. I don't want to be like, I'm a female, so I'm not a male, so I don't completely understand. So I don't want to act like I understand. But this is what these people are saying in these videos. That they're basically saying that they're tired of dealing with women. They just want what they want, which is a doll, a lifeless being. Okay. And also there are some women that have love dolls too, but they, for some reason, they focus more on the men. So that's where the double standard comes in, because there are women that have love dolls, but that's a little harder, I guess, because what you're gonna have to ride the doll or bend over for the doll. I don't know. That's an even harder situation. I'm just trying to figure out how a woman would have a love doll. But they do, you know, women get down like men get down. It's just for some reason when it comes to the sexual realm, in certain aspects, men take more heat than women, and sometimes women take more heat than men, because a woman will get called a whore faster than a man will be called any names for being sexually open and expressing herself sexually. But at the same time, men will get called perverts faster than a woman will be called a pervert. So that's the whole deal going on there. That's why nobody can heal properly in this world, because everyone's running around calling each other names, but we're not getting to the root of the problem, which is it's a soul problem. It's a spiritual problem, because, like I said before, we're not living in natural circumstances. You see, every animal in nature, the earth provides everything we need. We have food growing out the ground. There's seeds. They have seeds in the fruit so that we could keep planting more fruit so we could keep eating, because the earth is an intelligent being. It's a conscious being. So the earth wants you to eat from the leaves and the fruit, because that's how we connect to nature and the planet. Every planet in the solar system has its own consciousness, and every star has its own consciousness, and we all connect to that. But we're disconnecting from nature, and that's why all these problems are coming up, because people are working so damn hard at their job. People are so busy, and people are so stressed and always on the move, that we don't have time to be natural. So we turn to unnatural things to deal with unnatural circumstances. Masturbation, there's a debate on whether that's okay or not okay. I'm not even sure what it is, to be honest with you. I just know people have to release, and they have to do what they have to do. You know what I'm saying? So there's nothing wrong with that, because it's nature. You have to release. You have to have an orgasm. Otherwise, you're basically going against nature. And when you don't release, you start developing health issues, because you're basically telling nature, fuck you. That's why I don't agree with, sorry about that. That's why I don't agree with some of these religions, because they're teaching you to suppress sexual energy, as opposed to understanding it and learning about it and understanding what it means to have sexual feelings. Especially when kids, when they're going through puberty and they're 13 years old or 14 and they're going through puberty, all people can do is just slap them with a Bible and say, listen to this, you're a sinner for being horny. I'm like, so I'm a sinner for being horny? What? Does that make any sense? So I guess everything on this planet must be going to hell. Because being horny is a part of nature. That's just the physical format that we're in. Now, when we're souls and spirits and things like that, things might be a little different, but because we're in this physicality, this is just the bodies that we're dealing with. So instead of making fun of people or slapping somebody in the face with a Bible and telling people that you're a disgusting, sinister being because you're horny, and you have folks screaming at their genitals like, stop being horny, because they're afraid of going to hell. This is why some of these religion and spirituality are two different things. There's some gems in religion, there's some truth in religion, but there's some things that are just so ridiculous and against human format and human nature that's why people are driven crazy, because they're trying to live up to standards that are just against nature. It's okay to be horny, and it's okay to release, but the way our world is, the world is controlled by evil. Okay, that is true. It doesn't matter what religious text or what spirituality you're practicing. It all comes back down to the forces of good and evil are at battle with one another. And that's what we're dealing with. So we're living in an unnatural world, and no one's properly educated about sex, you know. Everyone's running around thinking they're horrible people, but the reality is no one would be here if it weren't for sex. And not everyone that's here came out of a perfect marriage. Some people are here by accident. And I don't mean to say that to be fucked up, but this is just real. Some people are here because your parents got horny and smashed. I mean, I'm just being honest, guys. Like, this is real shit. Not everything your parents tells you is some fairy tale Disney shit. Maybe your parents got fucked up drunk and fucked and had you. And you came into the world. It's not always a fairy tale story. Some people get married, do everything by the book, and you're a love child. Some people, they get high, they smoke some weed, they were listening to music, and they got horny, and there you go. Now your mom was pregnant, and you came into the world, and your mom's gonna tell you some bullshit ass story like, yeah, me and your father were in love, and no, come on now. Guys were horny, you had sex, here I am. That's okay though. Why are people so afraid of this? See, this is another reason why people turn to, I guess, alternatives, because people are so afraid of this learning about the sexual. The sexual is such a spiritual thing. You know, if you look at ancient Kemetic texts and Sumerian texts and ascended masters talk about sex and the Kama Sutra and all this stuff, sex is a beautiful thing, but you know, just like anything, like guns or whatever, you can't blame sex for the world's evil. There's just evil people with evil intentions. That's just like blaming the ocean for drowning people. I mean, the ocean is just the ocean. It just does what it does. It's just like fire. Fire is just fire. You can't say that fire is evil. It's all about the intent of the person who's manipulating the fire. People don't understand this. They just, I don't want to get into it. This video is not about religion. I don't feel like arguing with a religious person or anything like that. The reality is, we all just have to go back to nature. I'm not going to make this video too long because I've noticed when my videos are too long, people don't want to listen. We all have to get back to nature, and we have to figure out what we can do about these issues. Now, these people who are evil, they're going to keep making these clones and these robots and stuff. Like, people, there's already clones walking around. Like, there are people that don't have a soul walking around. I already met a few of them. I've seen a few of them on the train. People who look spaced the fuck out, and it's not drugs. I know what drugs look like. People that just are staring off into space. This is very, very weird. So the answer is in nature. That's all I have to say. We have to get back to nature. Get back to what the ancients do. You know what's funny? The ancients were more technologically and spiritually advanced than we are now. Why is that? Because we're moving backwards. Just because we have high technology doesn't mean we're making progress spiritually, which is, it's the spiritual that's going to get you off of these lower realms. It has nothing to do with how much money you're making and all that nonsense. Like, the Most High doesn't give a fuck about how many Bentleys you have. That's just the reality. And the higher beings, the Intergalactic Federation, they don't give a fuck about how beautiful you look in your physical form, because these beings aren't physical. Some of them are and some of them aren't. So they don't care about that stuff. As far as sex is concerned, sex is a serious thing because you have the ability to bring a body, which bodies are connected to souls. So you have the ability to bring souls into the world. And if your intentions aren't right, if you're not right, you're going to bring someone in the world that has a physicality that was attached to someone who wasn't right. So when you see people who are generationally fucked up, that's why that's why the bloodlines are so important, because there's so much genetic information in your body and in your blood. And when you're born into a body and a blood that flows through you that's messed up, you're going to be messed up. But then your body is a different thing than your soul. So your body and your soul and your mind are going to be at constant odds with one another. And that's why we have issues today. That's why people are going crazy, going to the psychiatrist or whatever, because you're in constant conflict and clashing with your mind, your body, and your soul are not in sync, because they're all on different wavelengths. They're all at different frequencies. You have to get all that in sync as best as you can. This is why you have to educate yourself and learn about sex. It's funny, talking about these things that people, get immature, whatever, they laugh. And it's funny stuff, but you gotta take this stuff very seriously because when you fuck soulless things, you lose parts of your soul. I mean, and that's just the reality. So all these times you're fucking love dolls and pocket pussy and even women who are using vibrators, and I have to put that out there too because it's true, because even Phil Valentine, who's a great researcher and spiritual man, spoke about how women who are using these vibrators, it can actually desensitize you if you use it too much. So this is real facts. And I know people hate to hear this because yes, the orgasm feels amazing, but we have to think in terms of what's natural. At the end of the day, the earth has the answers. The earth and the spiritual always has the correct answers, in the most high. You always pray. I prayed about sex. God isn't afraid to talk about sex. You guys think that because of these religions and stuff that, oh, sex is a sin, and no, sex is a beautiful thing. Everything in the universe has sex. The planets, the stars, the everything. Because sex is a connection. It's a connection, and it's the creation energy. It's the foundation energy for creation. So this energy is extremely serious. You have to take it seriously. But I prayed upon sex. I asked the Most High, I need healing. I need help to understand the origins and the reality and the truth about sex. And I got answers and information. So it's the creation energy. Sexual energy is used in many forms. It's not just penetration. It's also, if you're a musician, when you make music and you write, that's a form of sex, because you're creating something. You're taking something from the deepest, darkest parts of yourself, which is the formlessness of yourself, and putting light into it and making something out of it. That's the primary fundamental sexual energy. When you're an artist, when you have a blank piece of paper and you're putting your thoughts and your light into that piece of paper, it comes through the sexual energy. That's why when I make my best art when I'm lustful. I use lustful energy because that's the creation energy. It has nothing to do with sex. Like, I'm not drawing sex all the time. It might be a little bit of romance and stuff, but it's the lust and the sexual energy that has the best creation energy. That's why sexual energy is used a lot in magic, because it's a creation energy, which is not an evil thing. It's just evil people use this energy, and they know how to use it, and they know how to work it, and they use it. And these elitists, they want to miseducate people about sex and take people as far away from the natural as possible. So that's why they're making these dolls, and they're trying to make people poorer so they have to work more. And the more you work, it takes you away from nature. That's just the reality. Have you guys noticed that a lot of these people who work on Wall Street and stuff, they work so hard and so long and so many hours, and eventually a lot of them end up breaking, and they end up like leaving their job and going to Honduras or wherever, going somewhere to take peyote or take ayahuasca to find themselves, and people be looking at them like, what the fuck? You were making $1 million a year and you just left your job to go on this random journey. People don't understand that, but I do, because the more that you work and put time, now everybody got to make their money. I'm not putting that down. I want to make my money. I'm not going to stop working. I'm not going to stop working. I'm not going to stop working on my business. I'm not going to stop working my day job. But I understand what it means to take a fucking break sometimes. Sometimes you need to get away from the office, get away from the city, get away from your relationship or whatever, and just go in the forest somewhere and meditate. That is very crucial, because we're coming back to nature. We have to come back to nature, because that's where we came from. We come from the universe. We come from the Most High. We come from the planet. We have to go back sometimes. We can't just always detach ourselves from sex, from nature. Then we start doing unnatural things like relying on androids for sexual pleasure, relying on vibrators. I mean, I do it. I'm not a big fan of plastic dildos and things like that. I'm not really a fan of it, but I like the vibrator. But, at times I don't want that. I want real. Like, I want someone with a soul. And honestly, the best orgasms come from someone you love, and that's just real talk. I'm not even saying this to be funny or anything. It's just you can have a one night stand or whatever. You can have like a bullshit relationship, but when you actually find someone you love and you're attracted to, and you hit every point on every level, the orgasms are the best. So I'm just praying that everyone could find that special somebody. I know it's hard. I've failed so many times at it. So I know what I'm talking about with my wisdom and my experience. I have a lot to learn. That's why I always get on my knees and pray to the Most High for answers. I always stay humble because there's so much more to learn. The universe is a huge place. And not only is there a universe, but there's a multiverse. And not only is there a multiverse, there's thousands and millions of dimensions. So there's so much to learn. I'm still learning about Earth. It's very interesting. I'm an alien, by the way. I have to make that clear. I have a soul. I'm not a clone. I'm not sure if I have clones running around. I was talking about that in one of my videos because I've been having some very weird dreams where I was living out different lives in different places. But I have a soul, but I'm definitely alien to this planet Earth. I'm still trying to understand Earth and the universe. So forgive me if I could be wrong in some of the things I'm saying. I'm just speaking from experience for what I've been going through. I did my tarot recently. I'm learning the tarot, and it's very powerful stuff because the cards are always in sync with what's going on. No matter where I pick the cards out of the deck, it's always. I know there's something to this tarot because I shuffled the cards 30,000 times, and when I did tarot readings of myself, I always got the same cards. That's how I know that this stuff is real and that the tarot is telling me something. The tarot is connecting to my spiritual energy, is telling me that I have to share my experiences and my knowledge with people, even if people hate on me, shame me, call me this, call me that, tell me I ain't shit. Because I can't tell you how many times I was told I ain't shit in my life by ex-boyfriends or whatever, been told I wasn't shit, I wasn't ever going to be shit, my art is shit and everything. But my tarot is telling me something else. My tarot is telling me you keep working hard and you keep telling your truth and you keep spreading your wisdom and your experience. It could really help somebody. I said, fine. So I'll do this. I'll do things the right way. I'm not going to do things the wrong way. I'm going to go on the right path. So I hope everybody finds look into their sexuality and learn more about their self and learn more about the creation energy. And when you start studying the creation energy, you start to understand more about where the souls come from and how they come into physicality. It's very interesting stuff. I would suggest looking at videos about near-death experiences, and I forgot what the other one was called, is pre-birth experiences. Very interesting stuff. You can learn a lot from that. But guys, I'm going to check out now. I got to work on my comic. I am almost done with the first phase, which is the sketching and the pencil work. I'm excited because this is going to be my first cartoon in a long time, and I'm so happy. My dream is coming true. I want to make my dream come true because my dream is to be a cartoonist, a commentator, a spiritual woman. I want to help people. Everything that I do is all about spiritual. It's all about helping people, inspiring people. I know what it's like to be told, man, I mean, how many times have I had arguments with a person close to me in my life about changing my career path and stopping what I'm doing and to make more money and selling out. And I've been approached on so many levels to sell out and just move on in my life. And I kept saying, no, 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 I'm going to do this. And it's hard. So every time I come on YouTube, it's hard for me because I get a lot of hate. I get a lot of hate. I've been getting a lot of hate for a long time. But the Most High said, even high spiritual masters got a lot of hate. Everyone gets a lot of hate in this world. Anything that's real and that's true and that has light gets hate. And I'm understanding that the more that I grow up, that I cannot be scared. I cannot be withdrawn from the world just because there are haters in the world. I cannot be a coward because of hate. I have to be brave. I have to be strong. I have to come out with my truth. Everyone, the message today is always go back to nature. Nature has all of the answers. If you have questions, pray, and the answers will find their way to you one way or another. I've learned this in my life. Every time I had questions, I always had answers that come up in a dream or an experience. All right, guys, have a great day.